So when the shit kids are taunting the animals, when the cars and the baby seats are being recalled, and when you can't trust whether you can eat butter, milk, or eggs, and you can't trust anything.
But we have each other, and isn't that all we really need?
More importantly, that's when you turn to Nikke. That's when you turn. That's when you turn to the
goddess of victory.
The goddess of victory. You just turn to the phone, and that's the place to put.
Is this where you tell me you've been playing Nikke on your phone this week?
I've been playing some Nikke.
All right, let's talk about Nikke, goddess of victory.
Oh man. Hey, you know what? That game's all right. That ain't bad.
Shit, really?
Yeah, it's all right. I like it. It's not bad. The shooting is you peek, you shoot. It's reminiscent of some of those old like Wild Guns or like any kind of cover shooter thing.
Without the fluff.
Cover shooting bits, exactly. I mean, again, you go back before Gears of War, you get Wild Guns, you get Sin and Punishment, I guess, but that's more of a rail thing. Boss fights are pretty cool. You're like, yeah, and then you're switching between these different party members on the squad, and then the grenade launch or the rocket launcher you charge up, and that one's got a shotgun. You're like, oh shit, okay. And then you've got the automatic fire mode, just in case your fingers are getting in the way of jiggling booty, because you can't appreciate the jiggling.
Just in case.
You can't. The 2D live anime booty needs to be like your fingers are in the way while you play. So
yeah, no.
So it's quite interesting because again, as someone who's like toe dipping in and out here and there, I have a perspective on mobile games that is coming from, I guess, like the world of some Teppen and then some ridiculous fishing a million years ago and some ports of things that we care about. But this is the first like game I've played, I guess, that's a more recent modern mobile game where there's giant, super expensive, high budget anime cutscenes playing. Music is through the roof. AAA production, menus over the top.
Because you didn't touch any of the MiHoYo shit.
None of the Hoyo nothings. Yeah, so I'm just like, wow, look at the money go every 2 seconds as it jumps from medium to medium, and it's like I guess this must be standard now, but
no, that's something I'm going to talk about in my section,
okay. Because it's like, wow, look at that. There's a loading screen as you have multiple mandatory updates. And I couldn't, actually, so when I got it first last week, I couldn't play because there was a service period for a couple days that, whatever. But then it was, after it fixed, it's like, there's always, every time you boot it, there's an update. Every time you boot it, there's a mandatory download.
They're all like that.
It takes forever. You can't just boot and play. Like, it's wild how much.
So, like, there's a really genius aspect to that. Where, like, say you're like, I'd like to play Punishing Gray Raven, and you click on it, and it downloads on your phone in 1 second, and you're like, that's crazy. I can't. Oh, it got on. That's the downloader. That's the
every time
the exe file that just to get the icon on your phone. Because then you hit it, and they're like, we're downloading 20 gigs.
Yeah. And then that completes, and then you get your stylish anime title screen. Which I'm like, this is only gonna stay minimalist and stylish for like a half second before you start throwing gacha windows aggressively at me, right? And it's like, well, no, we're gonna put you through the tutorial first, but then yes, afterwards. So going through that, I was like, oh yeah, this is actually, again, not bad. It's you're looking at the highest quality PNGs bouncing and jiggling and live 2Ding their way at you.
Like I would say so I haven't put time into Nikke yet, but from what I could see, I would describe that as going so fast as to be accurately described as flopping.
Yeah, they are.
Like, they
very much are.
Fast jiggling.
It's like sometimes in games, there'll be a thing where, so Dragon's Dogma 2 has this, where like if you load up a character model on the pause screen and then you switch over to like a pawn, like you'll see as the pawn loads in from T-pose, there'll be just an instant jiggle.
Yeah.
And like you can switch to another character and switch back to them, and it's like, oh, jiggle,
Absolutely.
right? That little gravity is
that is the same internal game logic mechanism as picking up a fucking object in Skyrim and having every object on the table teleport up 1 inch and drop.
Right, okay. Just yeah. So that it feels like everyone you're talking to, all the Nikkes in every cutscene are all just constantly doing that. They're all, with their really perfect gestures, just bouncing their way up and down.
Hey
and
man,
talking at you.
I'm glad to hear that you don't have Nikke phobia.
Is that a thing? I see.
That is a term in that game for people who irrationally hate the Nikke.
Oh no, Nikke derangement syndrome. Uh-oh. Yeah, no. I don't have any of that. I'm fine. But
that's really genius. That's like an in-universe thing for like, I can't believe people don't like us. They're discriminating against our fat asses.
I mean, the last commander was an asshole. He was the worst. What a jerk. Good thing he got himself killed. And also, yeah, and then on top of that, that's why we have to rotate every 3 missions. You can't have commanders and their Nikkes working on too many consecutive missions together because things get really dicey, So, yeah, it's etc. Whatever. Commander, Pisan, whatever name you want to call.
In Arc Knights, it's the Doctor. There's always some kind of.
Oh man, yeah, and they definitely introduce you to your gamut of personalities right off the bat, and it actually has a pretty it's like an interesting intro sequence that gets the game started. As you have like the one you're paired with, and then some of the other supporting characters start to join. But something interesting is that like. So for me, I guess, weirdo that I fucking am when it comes to these things, I see the presentation of various waifus. You've got
That's right.
You've got the pure of heart, like, just genuine one that cares about you and will fiercely,
the girl next door.
Stand up for, yes, but she will fiercely stand up for you if anyone badmouths you. You've got the aloof goofball who's like, let's get out of here. We don't want to die. Fuck that. And like, just being all goofy, and you can hear or feel the little fang that should be sticking out of her mouth, even though she doesn't have one, right? And then you've got the dead serious, the Nimmu Kanryo, like the perfect, I'm just going to be a soldier, yada yada, by the book type, and so you take your whole pick. And in the process of them showing up, and then you got your calm girl who's like, "Hey, I'm the the happy-go-lucky CO," and then they introduce like the grunts who join the team, and they're just like the background soldier Nikkes, the girls that they don't matter, but they're wearing helmets and face-covered suits and like just uniforms and with their weapons and shit, and I'm like, I want to hang out with them. I want the nondescript ones that are completely meant to be disposable. Forget about them. They're not main characters. Their faces are hidden ones. Are the ones that look the sickest. They have like
it's a mass-produced.
They're so much cooler than the main ones that are like the main ones look like whatever like
they're wearing fucking plug suits.
Yeah, because you have like the. You have like the Xenosaga looking type, it says like
that's just Cosmos.
You have the VTuber types and then and such, and then you've got a couple that are just like, yeah, they're wearing full uniforms, and I'm like, that's, or like Zero Suit type shit with a weapon and a cool helmet, and I'm like, yeah, that's actually more interesting to me. So when it does its like roll, where you're like, here's a bunch of squads, and you get all these characters, and then like the C-rank garbage low tier ones are like these helmeted uniformed ones, and I'm like, that's the cool shit. Give me that. I want the low tier garbage ones.
This
please.
Sounds like the kind of talk from somebody who should have gotten into Nikke when they had the Nier Automata.
I mean, perhaps
crossover.
But it's interesting because like, as someone who's like, I want helmets and armor. And I like the ones that are like suited up in that way. All the main expensive outfits and costumes and things, I'm just like, this bounces right off of me. I don't care about going into or spending on any of that shit. I want the low rank free shit.
I want the generics, please.
Give me the grunts, man. The grunts rule. It's so much cooler. Hell yeah. So that's a funny, like, like you're looking at them as if these limited ones are like one per case, and here's 19 grunts, and I'm like, I want a squad of all grunts, please. That aside though, like, yeah, it's legitimately, it's pretty fun. The cover system, and again, your different types of enemies, and it works out. It uses the vertical screen in a way that I think.
So I loaded it up to get the download in, and I was shocked because it is the only one that I have on my phone that's like, yeah, vertical. Play it vertical.
It does make sense. And like, there's times where you're like, oh, I feel as if like I can't see enough to the left or to the right, but that's where you switch between the different ones on the bottom, and like they're all lined up in a row, so some can cover one side better than others, and then yeah, there's like some missions that are just, again, like your wild gun style mission, like you're shooting at a boss that's like a train that's going by, and like everyone can like target different areas and do different specific abilities, and yeah. So it's like, yeah, that, as long as the gameplay itself is fun and moving through it is fun to do in addition to, or regardless of whatever the gacha shit is, I'm like, yeah, I'm down to spend some time with this, but like, I can't see the way its current appeal system works, like getting me to spend a single solitary cent on any of that shit, because that is just not what I'm looking for.
It's just not to. It's like, here's a bunch of tulips, and you're like, I really like the vase that these tulips came
straight
in.
up. I mean, I don't know what to say, but that aside, though, I guess I'm gonna have to go a couple more missions, because you're also like railed aggressively onto, like, so you do a tutorial act, and then you do like tutorial training, and then there's like a solid maybe hour of rails, I'd say, before you can do your own thing. Yeah, I still don't know about like the full like list of currencies and crafting things and all that stuff, and I don't really want to. All I want to do is just shoot the gun.
There is the reality of all of these games that have any free-to-play elements to them at all is drowning in currency. Absolutely drowning in currency.
I'm waiting to see where I'm going to run out of energy or run out of life, or just you can't play anymore until you go buy this, or you have to wait for your daily healing or something. But
they'll all hit you with that at some point.
I haven't seen it yet, so perhaps I'm just still too early. But yeah, so far I've been able to walk around the map, and I'm looking for like, is there like a step counter that says, oh, you can't walk any further or some shit? And it doesn't seem like there is right now. So yeah.
Oh, people are saying Nikke does not have any stamina.
Okay.
It just gets hard.
There was an EX mission that popped up in the middle of a normal one, and like that thing was like, oh, you're not ready. You're didn't seem like I was just like underleveled for the challenge or whatever. But yeah, that seemed all right. I look forward to various appeals to I guess just like, there's characters that are showing up that are like, here's your commander general dude, and like he's also just like he's like the solid the military soldier man that's also kind of live 2D jiggling and has all that energy about him. And then there's the CEO lady who's also just, everyone's just blasted with that.
I have to admit, I was looking up some Nikke stuff as you were talking, and I was shocked. I was gobsmacked to see that men are in that game at all.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like astonished.
And the one that you meet is like, yeah, he looks like he's from this world. Like if they were to do their like dude Nikkes, then he would be one of them. He's barraying all over the place with his fucking perfect hair and chiseled everything. But anyway, yeah, I mean, not much to report on until I go further in. But so as far as I can say for now, I'm not going to start listing off names and the price tag of how much money I spent on each one. But we'll have to see. I think I think the 2B near stuff is all like gone forever anyways,
yeah,
right?
It's gone. So there's
okay.
like this segues perfectly into, so I got the new phone. Hello, new phone. and I have a story about that phone later. But I'm back to playing Honkai Star Rail because it runs perfectly at max settings on this phone, and I really, really liked Star Rail. And when I went back to it, it's the anniversary, and maybe this is just Star Rail, but I loaded it up and it took me almost 2 hours just to click on every new, like, there's a new thing button on the menu
to get through all the pop-ups.
No. Like in Honkai Star Rail, you have like a menu in game, which is like your cell phone. Your character pulls out their cell phone.
Oh yeah, that's in Nikke too. Yes.
Yeah, they all do it, and they have like, here's your mail, here's your achievements, here's your shit. Right. They added so much in the 6 months that I had not played the game that it took me hours
to just clear
the new features.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Like every little icon with a red dot that's getting your attention on the main menu.
I have to click it. I have to.
Notifications, new updates.
And
fuck, man.
There are two that really stood out to me as actually being worthwhile to mention. One of which is that these types of games, these gacha phone games, tend to have limited events. So a really good example is Nikke had 2B show up. 2B was there for 25 days, whatever it was, right? 2B is gone now. Do you want to play as 2B in Nikke? Buy someone's account off eBay.
Yeah.
That is how, right? With Honkai Third Impact, Asuka was there for a couple of weeks. Do you want to play as Asuka? Time travel to 6 years ago, right? I load into Honkai Star Rail, and one of the biggest options they have is like, listen, here is a gigantic like tree of how every event and every quest feeds into each other with all their prerequisites, and you hit this button and here's every limited event that they have ever done that had any unique content at all, and it is here forever.
Oh, okay.
And I went, oh, that actually makes like a huge difference. That's
cool.
They had an event that was like a minor Pokemon game that they ran for a couple of weeks for rewards, and it was apparently pretty good. And I'm like, oh, well, it's a bummer. I feel like I can't go back to the game because I missed it. Yeah. No, it's still there.
Well, but the thing is everyone's usually going by the rules of the forced scarcity makes urgency, creates a sense of, oh fuck, I have to play it now, even if I don't.
Yeah, some of the time limited rewards are gone, but the ones that matter are still there, and the actual mode is still there. So like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is that not Genshin, but Honkai Star Rail has a stamina thing, which is like you have 240, you get 10 an hour. And you bang that out on your dailies, right? But I hadn't played in 8 months. I hadn't played in 7 months. And now they have a gigantic pool that your overlap leaks into. So since I hadn't played, like my daily energy just leaked into this gigantic fucking pool that represented like a month of that shit.
So I understand that that's a positive, that it didn't go to waste, but it's still like celebrating a cancerous system that is like not, you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, the shitty thing that limits you is now pooling up in a way where it lets you play the way you probably should be able to play a game regularly. That's nice. You know, it's like that. I get it, but I
have been numbed to death by dailies and MMOs.
I still feel that. I still feel that. Look at it and go, this is disgusting and shitty and stupid. Like, I don't like oh yay, today I'm getting quad bonus on my energy doesn't make me go, wow, look how generous they're being. You know? And I guess with that, I still have the feeling of like, as I'm booting this up and I'm looking at the event notices, the daily login like screen, and like the amount of shit you clear to get to the gameplay, which is, I know that this is the state of like phone games, and that's pretty much how that's been for a while now. I know that this is also the state of a lot of console and PC games as well. I just it creates a very negative response from me the moment I boot up a game and I have to get through all of that to get to the thing, Well,
I should mention that in Star Rail and Genshin's particular points, and probably Zenless, the real game, i.e. side quests and main story content, and the vast majority of modes have nothing to do with the daily stamina thing.
Right.
That shit is only for grinding.
Right. Okay.
Like literally just for grinding content.
Well, I mean, for the longest while, I remember when talking about gacha, like to the audience and kind of learning about this, I was like legit confused as to, I was like, wait, every time we talk about this stuff, it's just talking about like unlocking characters, SSRs and ratings and percentages. But I'm like, what is the actual game that you're playing, in a lot of these cases? And I legit wasn't too sure, like with Fate and a couple of the other ones. I'm like, I don't know.
With Fate and Granblue, I was really confused for a really long time.
Yeah.
As to what those actually were.
I was watching my friend play the card game in Japan with, that you put it would print out cards and then it would interact with the mobile game in some way, but it seemed like an auto battling kind of thing.
That's correct.
Yeah, and like when it's all like so I like the gacha element like can be dropped onto I get just about any genre, I suppose. And to me, it's like if that is dropped onto something that you really just don't play. Well, in this case, you can set the game to shoot for itself and do whatever. But yeah, I'm like, it can't just be collecting JPEGs. There has to be a fun game.
Yeah, no, we had it was like an hour and a half conversation about like it has to be more than just the JPEGs.
Yeah, and the Hoyo stuff has had fun action, right? Is what
the Hoyo stuff, if you're into the genre, they're really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like Star Rail is like a pretty goddamn good JRPG.
I can't. Oh boy, that is an unfortunate place for you to freeze.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no! All right, there we go.
Sorry, I was using my daily energy there. No, I wasn't. I did that at 3:00 this morning.
It's always those like freeze frame moments that are like the chrétien faces.
Oh, that's a pull.
But like that's what I think of when I just think of like the screenshot of like the worst possible moment for the worst.
And I tell the protester, I'll kill you.
The Shawinigan handshake, yeah. No, but just how they would screenshot like his face in the worst possible moment in a sentence. In addition to the dude having a condition, that was just like, oh man. That it can't look any worse. All right, you're moving and you're back.
I remember there was like a big political ad that's like where they took a photo of Chrétien like mid-sentence and because our former prime minister Jean Chrétien, he had a stroke at some point in his life, so he had a little bit of droop face. And he's an older guy. And so like they took a photo where his head looked like it was melting apart and they were like, is this the face you want for your prime minister?
And like they do that.
It was a disaster.
They do that to everyone. Like they get any political bullshit. They get someone mid-speech of going, to make them look stupid. But in his case where he had a stroke, it was a bad
move. It did not work.
Yeah, no.
No, you wanted to make fun of Chrétien, you'd make fun of the fact that nobody who spoke English or French could understand a fucking thing he was saying. Couldn't speak either language.
Or that he like pulled an Undertaker and basically chokeslammed the motherfucker.
Yeah.
A protester. As if he were a striker at the latest WrestleMania. Anyway, so the Hoyo shit has actually decent gameplay. And,
absolutely.
And any of the games that I guess like are gacha on top of a visual novel, like I mean,
then it would depend on, hey, do you like this visual novel?
I guess, but
so like this goes into something you were talking about earlier, where you're like, well, you're playing Nikke, and Nikke is fancy looking. Mm-hmm. Nikke is animated, and you're like, I guess this is the standard. It is absolutely not the standard. It is
interesting.
It is approximately a coin flip.
Interesting. Because I fully expect it to come here and go, wow, look at the money flying out of this fucking titty simulator. this titty jiggler.
So
and like I was expecting everyone to go, yeah, no shit, Woolie, titty jigglers have been like this for 10 years now, and I'd be like, well, you know.
So MiHoYo versus games, which would be Honkai, with their modern games, which would be Honkai, they'd be Genshin, they'd be Star Rail, and upcoming Zenless Zone Zero are like the like this is a real ass video game on your telephone levels of production. Then you have something like Punishing Gray Raven, and there's a one upcoming called Wuthering Waves, which is very annoying to try and say out loud in English.
All of these names, dude. What was Punishing what? Punishing Gray Wave?
Punishing Gray Raven.
Gray Raven. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah.
Punishing Gray Raven sounds like an Armored Core. Sometimes.
It does. No. It does. Absolutely. It just like Goddess of Victory and such. Yeah.
But you want to talk about Wuthering Waves? That is just, god damn it. So these ones are like these is like a fucking PlayStation 4 game with like China or Korea like aesthetic on it, right? So I'm like, you know what? When I was like, hey folks, I got a new phone. By the way, people asking, it's a Galaxy S24 Ultra. What do I have to play on this? Like 40 people were like, dude, you got to play Arknights. Arknights is all I play on my phone. Like,
okay, yeah, that I've heard of that thing.
So I load up Arknights, and Arknights starts out with fancy menus, good presentation, excellent art, visual novel kind of thing, and it loads up into like a fucking tower defense game that looks shittier than Plants vs. Zombies like 15 years ago.
Oh, this is top down. Well,
it's
okay.
like. And like it's a bunch of like incredibly tiny little chibi like rumblefish like Newgrounds looking flash animation shit.
Okay. There's something to be said too, I guess. And I think I've brought this up before when I forgot what the game was. There's a game that was played during the Game Awards where the characters were the game was shown off and the characters were all like so far away from the camera that you couldn't get a good look at what they actually looked like. And as someone who loves character design and shit, I'm like, this is bothering me because they're all just the top of their heads and the back of their shoulders, but I can't see you. I can't see what the art is. I can't see what was designed. You know, who am I using? So with the way that Nikke is set up is like the character in cover and then shooting is right in your face.
Yeah,
taking
it's right there.
Half the fucking screen. You can't miss the character's design.
That's
everything
what
about
MiHoYo
them.
does. They're like, listen, you're gonna roll on this character. You're gonna fucking do your passes or whatever the fuck the gacha equivalent is. Here's a fully 3D model with full voice acting and a shit ton of animations that fills up like a third of your fucking screen when they're there.
Yep. This tiny shit is just, I hate that. It doesn't.
It's a very specific thing. So like, I'm gonna send you a fucking tweet about Path to Nowhere. Somebody recommended me a game called Path to Nowhere, and I just sent you the tweet, and it's got like 4 images in there, and they're like, hey man, it's a tower defense. It's really cool. I love the art style.
Okay.
Right, and so you click on it, and it's like got a bunch of portraits, got some visual novel art.
That's very pretty art. Yeah,
it's very pretty, right?
Yeah.
To which I like looked the game up on YouTube.
Yeah.
And this is what the game looks like. This is what the game actually looks
just
like.
Grid super far.
It's a grid with the super tiny characters. And like I shit on chibi art style, but I think like a way bigger deal is like, man, these are tiny characters. Like how do you expect me to fucking sit here and go, I got a whale for these waifus?
Yeah.
When you can't even see the waifus.
And the thing is, like, even a game like One Step from Eden, where they're doing Battle Network style, a similar angle to this screenshot, but you can still get a really good look at the character, even as they're moving along the blocks here. It's like, just because your camera's here doesn't mean everything needs to be this zoomed out. You know, it doesn't mean every asset needs to be that small. Like
Nikke understands what it's doing, and Nikke is very honest. It might be one of the most honest games I've ever seen, because they're like, do you want to see a bunch of these chicks fire a gun. Did you watch that video of a girl with huge boobs firing a sniper rifle in fucking, what's it called? High School of the Dead.
Oh, with the
then boy, do we got a game you can play on your phone.
No, it's real. Even I feel as if even like 13 Sentinels, right, which was just mentioned, it's like that's a game where the combat is like all abstract and zoomed out, and you're looking at portraits on a basically a war room, diorama. But there's a whole visual novel like conversation section where you're walking and talking, and you get to see the characters, so you don't feel like you're missing out on that. That here, I'm sure, is like cutscenes in between story as well. But
the visual novel.
But I guess it's like it's in 13 Sentinels, it's a full third of the game, right? Like in this case, if you're going to split it up in that way, it needs to be a significant portion and not just kind of like the lead in and out of each one of these missions. It's hard to care when you can't see the fucking characters.
Yeah, so like, and one of the other things is like a huge proportion of these have visual novel elements. And I mean, that's fine if they have a good story and you like them, to go for it. Visual novels are great. But I feel like particularly with the telephone games, when somebody says you should check this out, I should just say out loud, by the way, I hate Danganronpa, so we can just delete 2/3 of this entire fucking genre from my consideration.
That's great. I love Danganronpa. That shit's awesome. But
I couldn't make it. I talked about it on the podcast like a year ago. I literally could not make it more than like 10 minutes into the intro of Danganronpa 1. It was like, I'm he's the best baseballer, and she's the. I'm like, all right, fuck this, I'm done, I'm out, bye.
Yeah, hyper goofy, insane, exaggerated visual novel into Phoenix Wright case arguing gameplay, but it's far and few in between. It's mostly just antics.
It's a murder mystery, and I fucking love murder mysteries. But if I got into the game and every single person who died had me going, yeah, good, awesome. So should have gotten the rest of them.
Well, it's a death game in addition to being the murder mystery, right? Yeah. I mean, the other element too is like the way you do logic arguing and stuff is pretty fun. It's like, they're gonna say a bunch of shit.
Totally.
Shoot down that word. That's the key word you need to fucking refute. Okay, here we're gonna follow the logic path, train of thought.
Isn't the subtitle of the first one like Trigger Happy Havoc?
Yeah, and the truth bullet. Danganronpa is like a pun on the idea of a truth bullet. It's firing from the gun, and so everything in the HUD is loading up a 6-shooter with bullets of truth and then firing the ammunition while someone's like lying to defend their case. It is, yeah. Or something like that.
But yeah, no, it is definitely not the standard. There is a on your telephone, there is a wider chasm in between visual styles and visual fidelity than in any console generation that has ever been. You run the gamut all the way from could release right now on PlayStation 5, like the ones that have released right now on the PlayStation 5.
Right.
And you have game that, like in Grand Blue's case, is literally a browser game.
And it's all the more reason why when you see that actual screenshot where shit's all super tiny and you can't see anything, but you're supposed to not just give a fuck, but like care enough to spend money collecting
that's
extra
the part.
Assets and costumes and shit for these characters.
It's like the trick to the whole genre is you want me to think that character is cool enough that I'm going to make a dumb purchasing decision because that character looks really cool. But when I'm like, I can't even see the fucking character, like how, and that like, I want the characters to be cool enough that I like them so I can see them. It's a very specific thing for just this genre.
Is Nikke like one of many, or is that the only one?
I don't know of anything that's like Nikke.
Because again, Nikke seems to, it has this like, it has the button up top left where when the jiggling gets too much for you and you need to do something about it, you can just turn on autoplay.
Too much.
When you're just like, all right. You can hit the auto shoot and then auto super as well, and then turn it back off, you know? So I'm like, I don't know if there's anything else that is as honest about what it's doing, but that feels, again, right out of the page of Rumble Roses with the mud wrestling mode with the skin-colored mud and one-handed controls.
I had a really funny moment talking about, like, bitching about Arknights. Well, not bitching, like, I'm not angry at the game. I'm just like, what? And I'm like, you know what they should do? I hear Arknights is really popular. They should just take all their Arknights money and they should make a version of Arknights that's like a real video game and looks like a real video game. To which someone informed me that I had actually watched a trailer on one of the Game Awards shows of a game called Arknights Enfield, which is literally exactly that.
Okay.
It is the same fucking game, but it looks like a PS4 game.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, well, they should do the thing that they're currently doing. Yes. I guess
that's what I would say about Grand Blue, and then Relink happens, right? That's exactly it. It's like,
hey, I wanna respond to a comment I just saw in the chat, which is Pat is wrong about Arknights. It's really fun. I need to be so clear. I'm not saying Arknights is bad. I'm not saying it's not fun. I didn't get that far. I'm saying that if it's a free game and I download it, it is up to that game to pull me in and be excited to play it for more than 5 minutes. And if it doesn't, it just gets deleted off my phone. No harm, no foul.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody sent me, I'm going to play a game called Limbus Company this week on stream, and somebody sent me, Saren sent me a 20-minute tutorial video. It was like, well, the in-game tutorial is not so good. I'm like, this makes me want to delete the game off my phone right now.
Okay.
It's Limbus Company's job to hook my ass in 5 minutes. I'm not watching no 20-minute video tutorial.
Or gameplay tutorial, but it's highlighting sections of the screen to tap, so you might as well be watching a video. Okay, question for the universe, question for Shivers out there. What is the least scummy feeling of these types of gacha things? Like, what's the game that is like the most direct and honest feeling right off the bat? You boot right in, you don't have to get through too much bullshit, you get to some gameplay, and it's like, go over here if you want to get some other stuff, but the game is still primarily the game, and that's the focus of your attention. And then,
I mean, I'm not an expert. Definitely not. People are saying Limbus Company.
Some people are saying Genshin. And then most people are saying none, actually. Most people are saying none. Yeah, all right.
So like I remember playing, like I played like a full afternoon or like full evening of Star Rail before I encountered any of the gacha shit. And then they flood you with free shit, like free characters that you can use to free to play your way through the game.
Well, was that afternoon all an on-rail tutorial?
No, it was the first dungeon.
Oh, playing openly.
Side shit opened up.
Okay. Because I remember when you were when we talked about Runeterra, for example, and it was like, oh my god, it gives you so much shit, right?
Runeterra is like the anti-nightmare, if that makes any sense.
Right.
In which Runeterra was so fair that it is no longer going to be supported.
Okay.
The single player parts of Runeterra are ongoing, but they're not going to be making like new expansions for the competitive card game anymore, because there's no reason for you to ever spend any money in it.
But like the energy was generally pleasantly surprised, expected to get ripped off, but turns out they're giving you more than you can handle in terms of just collecting stuff. And then there's the Vampire Survivors style. I'm expecting to be nefariously pulled into possible small places to microtransact or do things, and it's like, no, that's here. This is actually just a game, and you click and walk around and all that, but it's not, loot boxes are not really loot boxes.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Darwinian market. Somebody in the chat summed it up really well, because the types of these games that are like super fair get left in the dirt by the ones that are like just unfair enough that people don't mind.
Okay.
But they make money, and the ones that are crazy unfair also don't do that well because
fuck that.
Everybody just feels ripped off all the time.
But there surely
there's like a balancing point.
But there's fans of this that must have gone, we're making our own with blackjack and hookers, and they went and they did, and it was fair, but it was too fair, and then it didn't make enough money, and then that's it.
Yeah, and so like then you get weird stuff where like I believe Punishing Gray Raven and Wuthering Waves are made by people who used to work at MiHoYo.
Okay.
And when you look at Wuthering Waves and you look at gameplay, you're like, wow, they stole every interface element from MiHoYo. Like the color, the size of every interface element, the shape of the stars on the character, like stolen. It's hilarious.
I mean, Marvel rivals to Overwatch levels of yeah. I feel legit curious about just like what is that sweet spot of please spend money over here, but like if we don't bother you and annoy you at least somewhat, you're never gonna actually do it. And for some people that are more immune to the push, it needs to be FOMO bucks. We need to create a real sense of like, fuck, I don't really feel good about this. I don't like how many people that have like not even wailed, but just like occasionally like dolphined, I guess, you know what I mean? Like grabbed a couple things. Like how many people are like, yeah, I don't regret spending what I've spent on this. You know, who feels good about what they've collected up to this point? That's what I wonder if that's out there, you know?
Yeah, I know a wide variety of people all over that gacha spectrum.
Okay.
People who play exclusively free to play, which you can occasionally hit roadblocks, but the games, the good ones anyway, provide like enough for you to pull through. Ones that get like the monthly sub essentially, or a monthly pass, which is like $5.
Right, pay for itself, yeah.
And then what they do is they save up like 90 to 100 days worth of shit, and then they go, when something they really desperately want drops, they just blow it to make sure they get the pity, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And I also there was somebody in this fucking chat earlier that said I used to play 5 gachas and had to stop entirely due to financial things.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like, you shouldn't do that. You should just not. Dude, you should not engage with these.
Because it feels as if there's that was
in the prelude before the podcast started.
Well, because just the feeling of like I've been playing this for months or perhaps even a year or so, and the whole time I've just gone with what I've earned, and I haven't spent anything on it. So I feel good about the fact that I haven't, given in or gotten ripped off by that. But then you're like, okay, you eventually see something and you're just not going to have enough time or credits to get it. And you're like, it's a feeling of like relinquishing, like, oh, fine, you got me, where that is not, fine, you got me is a not good thing to have a feeling associated with a game. I don't like that. I don't like when I buy something going like, oh, fucking all right. I did that. Even I think I did that with like Overwatch 1 originally with some of the costume shit there, but there are times where like when there was it was like Street Fighter V's like bundle of like, here's a stage, here's some costumes, and here's the extra like fight bucks or whatever, and then this is going to go towards the tournament prize pot itself or whatever you're contributing. And I was like, oh yeah, happily, I have no problem supporting that.
Yeah. The people that seem the happiest that I know playing the Star Rail's the one that I know the most people who play. Are the ones that are honest with themselves, and they go, once a year or once X amount of time, I will allow myself to throw $100 into this for that whole period.
Right. Okay.
Or people who basically treat it like a subscription.
Okay.
Like if it's probably wildly unshocking to you that a huge proportion of my friends that play Final Fantasy 14 are also on my Honkai Star Rail friends list.
The same ingredients.
There's direct overlap.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. So yeah, I only played Nikke, but with the new phone, you must have covered a bunch of.
So what I've been doing is I've been playing the Honkai Star Rail anniversary event, which is enormous. It's I've the whole week of playing phone games has been literally diving into the Honkai Star Rail anniversary event, which is enormous. And catching up and grabbing like I had a bunch of roles saved up, so I got the banner character named Acheron, who is bananas. I got Dr. Ratio before he left, which I'm disappointed because there's a character named Dr. Ratio that is about right angles and like geometry.
Oh, boo!
But when I was told that the character was called Dr. Ratio, I don't know why I thought they were going to be a social media character.
Yeah, the modern redefinition of Ratio is so much better than the original.
And just like fucking rebuilding up that new team and going into simulated universe, blah 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 blah. This week, I'm going to be doing a stream in which I check out the 4 games that are most recommended to me on the telephone, but they all happen to have PC clients, so I don't have to stream off my phone because that's a nightmare, and I hate it.
Yep. Have you actually done it?
I did it once, and I was a wreck. I was a fucking wreck the whole time.
Yeah.
I was terrified the whole time.
Yeah. I did it for Teppen, and like I
also did it for Teppen. That's the game I did.
Yeah,
for.
Turned off every notification. All things, the screen stay on. No calls can be made. Like you go through it, but you're just like, but what if?
Yeah, like I was talking about
Mom calls me right now?
Stream like a day or two ago, and I'm like, I start to stream off my phone, and I'm 100% certain that my mom is trying to send me like a fucking care package in the mail, and the text message comes up and goes, "Is this still the street you live on?" And then like your address, and it's in the drop down, like.
And then just dick pics you never took are just suddenly happening.
That's not even my dick.
Yeah, all of it. No, I know. It was quite
nerve-wracking. But yeah, so I'm gonna play Limbus Company. I'm gonna play Nikke. I'm gonna play a game called AFK Journey, which someone warned me about its chemical use in that it gives you the good chemicals, and Punishing Grey Raven.
Away from keyboard journey?
That's right.
Okay.
It's an auto battler.
Okay.
And Punishing Grey Raven is the one that I'm by far the most interested in because it's basically a character action game.
Okay.
That you can play on your phone. And all of this, let's be honest, is just me. Actually, I'm excited for Zenless Zone Zero to come out, which I've done more research on, and I've discovered what kind of game it is.
Oh, because you asked me about it, and I was like, yeah, that's definitely up my alley in terms of style and the trailers I've watched, but I didn't think you were interested in it.
Yeah, I'm extremely interested in it because it's Hades.
Oh, gameplay-wise, no kidding. Okay.
It's Hades from behind the back, like
I saw
character action.
Yeah, I saw that it was a third-person action thing, and I was like, all right, I'm content with that.
It's the primary mode for it is roguelike.
No shit, that's pretty cool. Well, that's a great fucking basic game genre to go into for something that looks incredibly stylish. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
these telephone games, crazy.
That aggressively now has my attention. Then, like, I was like, it looks cool, but the fact that it's Hades, that's pretty sick. Okay.
Yeah, it's Hades, and then instead of so like your basic mode's a roguelike where you'll be going through. Okay, it's not. This is a very frustrating thing where I look at something and I go, oh, this reminds me of this, and I go, it's like this. And I now look down and see a bunch of people in all caps screaming, "It's not like
Yeah.
Hades at all!"
Trust. That's
And
me.
it's like, wait, it's
That's me every day.
it's not. I thought, because I watched like an hour and a half of footage, and it really did quite look like you were going room to room with buffs that you would get in between individual encounters and with your character, and you would fight enemies in actions. How is that not like Hades?
Yeah. So I'm just like, I was I was loading up Nikke to try and get the names of the characters I was referring to, and like most of them don't even have names. They're just called Soldier FA, or
well, they're generics. They don't need names.
yeah, or like Soldier 08 or Product 08. I think it's like just literally like nothing. So anyway. All right, I got to scroll all the way down to the bottom of my squad list to find the ones I care about. Beyond that,
It's a strange problem to have.
I'm down because it means it'll never be expensive. It means it'll never be that much credits or whatever coins to fucking buy this shit. If I do want to get anything. But keep hating on the things I think are cool, please. I have no problem with that.
I was talking because you play. Do you still play Tekken like regularly, or is it just like a?
Not recently, no. Because I know they had a big update with like rival schools, I think. But I haven't played it since Virgil.
Like, how did you interact with that game's like systems for getting new cards? Like, there's a crafting thing in there.
There's basically by fighting enough and high ranking enough stuff and matches, you build up like essentially like experience currency, which you can then go and convert into packs, and then you can buy like giant groups of packs at a time, and you get all the new cards, and then any duplicates get turned into you can turn duplicates into a currency that you can use to buy a specific card.
Yeah, that's extremely familiar to me.
Yeah. So by playing a whole bunch, I'd basically be able to like formulate a deck around whatever cards I was able to buy for that season, and then there'd usually be like one or two cards that you would need to like make the whole strategy work out, and then I would just like trade in that or convert.
Did you use the free gift packs?
Yeah, all the time, constantly.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Because somebody told me you didn't, and I'm like, that's insane. No one would ever turn down the free gift pack.
No.
Every time. That's got to be a lie.
There was I think like once or twice when like I missed it, because there's like you have a limited time to open it, and if you don't open it within whatever amount of days from when you get it.
Yeah, I know there's something like that for Honkai right now, where people are like, if you do the vignette of the cups event, you get a free character. I'm like, I'm not going to get to that event in time. It's like 22 days away, but I have to do the entire remainder of the game story in order to do that.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Yeah.